Yes. Fine.
So guys, I think almost 23 participants have joined here. So this is the first batch that we have started to group yourself. So so this session we are going to take on resume review basically and how to build up your resume, like role specific resume, domain specific resume, and what words you're going to use, and how to build an attractive resume. I think almost everyone had applied for campus, but still, if you want to go for off campus placements, how you have to build your resume so that your resume is like to get attracted among many. And like nowadays foundation is too high, so you must be one among the crowd. And if your resume is not just attractive, if your resume is not like it's so clumsy, and if you didn't prepare a specific format, it won't be shortlisted. Only when your resume looks good, it will go to next process. And then we're going to take in the session also interview guidance, like how to choose a role. Like there's so many roles, so now we're going to explain what are all the roles that have listed in CA for CA freshers, and how you're going to approach, like what are the ways to approach, and how to tackle that role interview. And then we want to discuss some questions, like first step in all the interview like HR questions. Like we're going to list out some questions, and we're going to explain how you all are going to tackle that, so that you can get shortlisted. And then we're going to have 30 minutes Q&A session. You all can ask the questions you have in mind. Like maybe you would have gone through some questions and you would have got blank, and the HR have asked you. So if you can put up some questions, we will be able to answer. Since almost 10 minutes got over, so now Kishore will directly lead the session, and first he will be leading us in resume review. So hi Kishore,
Hi,
you
hi,
can start the session.
yeah, great. Let me pin my system just a minute. Yeah, hello everyone. So this is CA Kishore Tondapu, qualified chartered accountant from the batch of November 2020. So firstly, welcome to you all to this session. I hope this is going to be fruitful to all of you, and a big congratulations to everyone who has qualified in this recent attempt, and welcome to the Allied Club of Chartered Accountants. Um, I'll not waste my time before the session, so I'll take 2 minutes of my time before we start the actual session. So just to introduce about myself, so I am CA Kishore Tondapu, a qualified chartered accountant from the batch of November 2020. So soon after getting qualified, I've been exposed to the campus placements and then the off-campus placements as well. So I was fortunate enough to get selected in almost 14 companies in put together, and I've almost attended for 16 to 17 companies interviews and all. So after getting in all the companies and the offer letters were on my table, so then I selected Bharti Airtel to pursue my whole time, not whole time, so to start with my career. And I've started my initial stages of career as a chartered accountant in Bharti Airtel as a cost analyst. So that was basically in Bangalore. I worked over there for a couple of years, and then I quit my job to start my own practice with my friends. So I've started practice recently, an year back, I guess. So it's been a year in practice. So now I'm practicing full-time practicing chartered accountant in Hyderabad. So that is more or less about my professional journey. And of the professional journey, I'm a writer both in Telugu and English languages. And I've been writing in Telugu under the branch of Golmaal CA since last 3 years, I guess, in the name of Kishline. So some of you might be aware of that pen name. So it's more or less about my professional journey. So the whole scenario, the whole point of view of this particular session is to how to face the interview first thing, and then how to prepare your resume and how to make your resume stand out of you in apart from the list or the bulk of resumes that are there on the interviewer's table. So how to stand out among us the people who are waiting for the job. So how you have to prepare yourself for the interview is the first thing, and then I mean the first thing will always be the resume, and then you have to prepare for the interview. So I'll start with the preparation of interview, and then I'll jump on to the preparation of resume and how your resume has to be and how you have to build that particular resume in a good way just to make your self stand out. Uh, there are a lot of things that you have to build in yourself just to be able to appear for the campus placements. And the first and foremost thing that I want to put in front of all of you, is that see, it's not about your skill, it's not about your competence, or it's not about how much you know. It's all about the psychology, or it's all about the psychological confidence that you're gonna put in into your mind, that you're gonna be fit for that particular job, or fit for that particular role that you're going to, or that you're getting interviewed for. It's always the first impression that you are going to plant in the heads of interviewer. So, and then your confidence or your accuracy in the answers, or your performance in the whole interview session of 30 minutes or 40 minutes is going to matter. So that is why I always tell to all of my, I used to conduct mock interviews to qualified CS since last 3 to 4 times. So I always used to say to all my attendees that the appearance of yourself, or appearance, how you're going to dress yourself for the interview, or how you're going to present in front of the interior is always the first thing that you should concentrate on. So psychologically, the first thing in the interior is going to see you is far more important than your performance. So this is something less spoken among us, our community. So first thing that you have to concentrate is upon the appearance. So always wear a light colored dress. Always do not wear dark colored, or do not be in an ambience where the darkness is hovering all around the room and all. So always wear a light colored dress, and that is very very important. And also groom yourself in a neat way. So if you're a boy, then groom your beard less to 0.5 mm or 0 mm. That's it. Do not have a heavy beard or heavy hair at all. And if you're a girl, don't sprinkle your hair all over your face. You just tie your hair in a neat way, and then appear before the screen. And also the posture also definitely matters. The posture you're sitting, do not lean more in front of the screen, and place your screen at least the way that I'm placing right now. That placement should also matter. This also plays a big psychological difference in terms of interior. So if you're so close to the system, that also doesn't give you a good impression. And if you're very much far to the system, also it is a bad thing. So posture and the placement, the distance between the screen and yourself is definitely matters. And also when you're appearing for the interview, so do not laugh much. I always suggest you to smile at least in between the answers, but do not laugh, or do not exaggerate your feeling, or do not be exaggerating feeling, in a sense, be it in a tensed way, or be it in fearing for the interview, or be it in laughing so much. Do not do all these things. Just wear a nice smile at least. On and off, you should at least smile, so that that makes a good impression in the mind of interviewer. And always carry a laptop. Do not attend your interviews in mobile at all. Laptop gives a good impression in the minds of interviewers. And also make sure that there is a proper and a stable internet connection as well. And do not make yourself in a disturbed area, where some sounds are coming aside. And do not place yourself in such an environment, because that will automatically lead you to give wrong answers and make you less confident if surrounding areas are filled with people, or filled with disturbance or sounds kind of. So this is also one more thing. So basically what I would like to say is, psychologically you have to prepare the interviewer to make him make him get impressed by your first appearance itself. And then I'll come to the real part, of the core part, where every one of us, whenever we start appearing for the interview, the first question that we all face in the 99% of the cases is introduction, right? So if so introduction is for everyone, and every candidate, introduction is always the mandatory one, right? So now the answer should not be same. So same in the sense, every people, or the every CA prepares the introduction part in a very generic way, where they'll write something, or write in a paragraph, and keep mugging up that in their mind, and then utter it in front of the interviewer. So that is the most common approach that most of us will do. So I always suggest you to maintain not do not maintain a generic way of introduction of yourself. Maintain in such a way that it should sound so casual. And also the important thing that you should include in your introduction part is, let's say that you're appearing for a start audit role. Then in the introduction itself, you say a line or you say a paragraph why why you in particular are very much suitable for that role. Let's say that if you're choosing or if you're attending for a start audit role, tell an example or tell a instance where you're excelled in the start audit role. Even one line does matter a lot, because that is the first question that you're going to face, and that makes an impression on the minds of interviewer. So basis the role, basis the approach, or the basis the interviewer's question. So if the role is depends upon I mean to say, I mean it's almost like a role specific one. So mold your introduction part in such a way that you're appearing for that role and you're very much suitable for that role. So that is one thing. And sound in a casual way. Don't sound in a robotic way, or don't make him receive your introduction in such a way that you have already prepared that and coming and saying it out. So just be casual and with a calm mind. If you can say it, then in the first impression itself, you're going to score goal over there. And the other thing, the next thing. And the next thing that I would like all of you to learn first is, if you're going to attend for a let's say R to R kind of a role, so learn about that role first. You would be getting job description, or you'll be getting something which is related to your job or the work in the prayer itself, to your mails or to your anything of that sort. So if you're getting to know that what kind of role that you're going to appear for, do not ask that what you're going to do to the interviewer. You yourself do some research and learn from the internet or from the friends or any one of those in the beforehand about what you're going to do, what the role is specifically for. In the job description itself, they will give you a lot of information that what your job is going to be, and soon after you're going to get selected. So this is one thing that you should be prepared before preparing for a theoretical part, or before preparing for the questions, or that are going to get questioned to you in the interview. So first thing is, learn about the job first, and then if you're appearing for a particular company, learn about the company also. So sometimes you might face the question like, why do you select our company to get interview for, or why do you want to get into our company? What do you know about my company? Okay, so these are some common questions that you're going to face. So as soon as you face that question, you get murmured or you get tense that you don't know anything about the company. So if you're not prepared about the company, none of us are going to prepare about the role or the job or the company that we are getting interviewed for, right? So this you should keep in your mind and be prepared in the beforehand itself. And regarding the theoretical part, so we kept reading a lot of books or reading a lot of standards and heavy syllabus all these years, and straight away you're in such a position where interviewer can ask you anything out of the things that you got in your mind in all these years, right? So do not be overstressed, or do not be overburdened with the heavy syllabus in your mind. Just be prepared with the cream layer of things. So if you're preparing for a stat audit, then learn about all the auditing standards, learn about the important auditing standards which you might think that interviewer can question for, or in practical scenario, what are the standards that are presently applying in the job life scenario. Or you might also do some research in the internet that what are the important standards that I can get asked for. So if you're selecting some portion of standards, do not go deep into that subject at all. You're not going to answer that in a theoretical way. You're just going to say it in a very short form. You're not going to spend so much of time in saying the answer, or you're not going to explain everything. You're just saying the answer in a short way. So the preparation about your subject should always be on a cream layer basis itself. You're not going to what I'm going to say is that approach or the mindset of answering questions in the exam now should be turned to answering questions in the interview. So that mindset should be changed, so as the preparation should also change in such a way. So do not waste your time in preparing a lot of subject, but invest your time in the way you're going to say the answers, and the way you're going to appear yourself before the interviewer, the confidence and the calmness that you're going to perceive. So all these things, all these behavioral things, all these interpersonal things that you have to concentrate more rather than the subject. So I don't say that subject is not at all mandatory to learn, but prepare in a way that more portion of your time invest in introducing or investing up presenting yourself rather than the subject, and that is one thing. I've prepared the notes, that's why I'm seeing down and making the points say to you. And also in some cases, apart from the experience, along with the experience that I have in my campus or off campus interviews, there are certain instances where they will give you a case study also. Let's say I've got interviewed for Bharati Airtel, right? So they used to ask me two questions, which I particularly remember, that if you're going to be my cost analyst, how you're going to treat the cost that we incur in the diesel consumption of a particular area or the particular tower, particular number of towers in a particular area, how you're going to reduce that. This is a kind of, my role was to reduce the cost over there and run some cost reduction projects and all. So now that job or the particular case scenario is what I'm going to do in the job, not in the interview. But they have asked me in the beforehand itself that if I'm going to get selected, then what I'm going to do in that particular job. So this is a kind of case scenario question. So in these areas, we cannot be prepared in beforehand, right? So definitely you have to be attentive and with open-minded nature, and also a bit, spontaneous in selecting the spontaneous in way of saying the answer. So you should be with the open-minded nature over there. So if you're confined to a set of questions or set of bulk theory that you prepared, and if you expect the interviewer to ask the same from what you have prepared, it is not going to work. So you just be open to any question or open to the spontaneity in the interview itself, so that your answer can roll out in a good way. So think, and if you want some time also, you can always ask the interviewer that give me 1 minute to think about it, and then you can frame your answer in your better time, and then you can respond to the interviewer. So that you can always do, but just be with an attentive and open-minded. So that is a crux point of that scenario. And and also when you're saying answers, so whenever I used to do mock interview, so people used to say a lot in the answer. When I ask, I'll say an example. So whenever I used to ask my attendee that what are the types of audit risks we have, then they used to say that there are two types of audit risk, and then the second type there are three types of audit risk, and they start explaining what each and every audit risk is. That is going to be a very lengthy discussion if they are explaining each and everything. My question is, what are the kinds of audit risks we have? You answer what are the kinds of audit risks that are there, and you have to cut it short with that straight to the question. So if you're going to explain everything or explain or take a lot of time in explaining each and every question, so then it is going to be a heavy then it's going to be very heavy for the interviewer to take in all the information that you're going to say. So that is why I've said earlier that the approach of attending an exam should now be changed to approach of attending an interview. So all your answers or all your way of saying the answer or depicting the answer should always change now from this pattern to this pattern. And also, we usually get a lot of questions, and the repetitively asked question amongst them is, when interviewer asks me what is your salary expectation, what should I say in that? So whenever you receive this question, you must have done some research in the beforehand itself, that how much you're going to, how much a particular person is going to earn in that particular role, right? So if you have that information, you can always say it straight to them that this is my expectation, and this is what I learned from the research that I've done. Karke. No hesitation at all. If you think that 15 LPI is what you are going to expect to that particular role basis the research that you have done, you say it directly that 15 lakh is what my expectation is, and also add a point at the end that if you have any price in your mind and you're going to quote that to me, I'm always open for bargaining. So bargaining is not a cheap word that you're saying out there. It is a very common word. If they have that intention of asking that question to you, you can always say that thing on their face that this is what I expect, and I'm always open for the bargaining if you have any quote. Okay. So do not hesitate at all, and do not quote a lower LPA or lower price, lower salary over there in the beforehand itself. If you're going to quote lower, they're going to give you lower LPA itself. So do not quote lower at all. At least maintain that average or maintain a bit more above than the average. You do not hesitate in that part. And Yeah, and also, so if you're going to almost 50% of the newly qualified CAs would always go for Big Four roles, and also if you're going to attend an interview for the Big Four, the most common question that you're gonna face is why Big Four or why Deloitte or why PwC. These kind of questions you always face. Uh, in that scenario, you just be prepared if you're going to attend for a PwC, let's say learn about PwC's work culture or learn about what kind of audits or what kind of exposure that you're gonna get in PwC company. And the second thing when you're going to say is when you're glorifying or when you're prioritizing your much interest in joining PwC, when you're saying it out, then do not criticize or do not undervalue other big three at all. If you're going to undervalue other big three, then the pure negative marks are going to add in your pocket. Do not ever criticize or say less about any other company. You can always prioritize or you can always say that it is my dream to join in this company because of so and so obvious reasons. You can sound so casual and genuine over there, but in the verge of saying it, do not undervalue any other three companies at all. So that is one thing. And also you can always say that I have some friends who are working over there and I've found them very friendly in terms of work culture, and I've heard some great stories regarding the people who are worked in the PwC or Deloitte or whatever the companies. So you can always say in that way, but do not undervalue any other company. So this is one thing. And some aspects are going to be checked in your presence or in your performance. When the whole throughout the interview process, there are some aspects that are going to be tested in you. The first amongst all these things, the one thing is behavioral aspect. So basis the behavioral aspect, some questions you got to face. Yeah. So this is your regarding the behavioral aspect, they might ask you how you're going to deal a particular kind of complex situation if you're going to face that in your job if you're going to get selected. So they're going to give you a scenario in your job. Let's say that a new employee has joined in our team and you have already joined in the 6 months back, and I'm going to give you a particular complex task to you. But on the other hand, you have to deal with this new employee as well. But that doesn't mean that you have to under prioritize the work or the task that I'm going to give to you. You have to deal this work, and also you have to deal this particular new person's work as well. I mean, in terms of training him or in terms of guiding him to do his own work. So in this particular scenario, what you're going to do? So this is the kind of question where they're gonna test your behavior or test your approach to that particular kind of scenario or the excuse me, someone is operating, I guess.
Kishore, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. So that is what.
Someone has shared whiteboard. Is
Uh-huh. So these kind of behavioral questions you should be always open for, and also in the behavioral questions also you have to be attentive and spontaneous again. You never know what kind of questions you're going to face in that particular moment. You can always prepare for some kind of random questions, but still, I always used to get a unique question whenever I used to attend for the interview. So here also you have to be spontaneous and attentive, and also you're gonna get tested in terms of leadership skills as well. So if you can always answer to this question in a way that quote an experience or frame a story where you have dealt a particular kind of situation in your articleship experience or somewhere before your somewhere in your job after the articleship or somewhere in your whole work experience, and how you have dealt with that particular situation and how you have shown your leadership skills in that particular scenario. You can always frame a story in that way, or if you have a real life experience, you can always say that this is what I have done karke. Just a minute. If this meeting is going to end in next 10 minutes, you can join the same link. Nani would have already sent this link to you. So If you're not able to join this link, Nani will send separate link to you. So join in the same link. Okay. Mm. Yeah, leadership skills. So this is one area you should be prepared in the beforehand. And also some other important things that you should concentrate on is amendment parts are also being tested in the interview, specifically in big four interviews. How updated your knowledge is going to be tested. They're going to ask you some amendments basis that if you're going to appear for direct tax, latest finance bill has been passed, right? So in questions from that can also be asked. Or if you are appearing for strat audit, they're gonna ask from your end itself, tell me an updation that has happened in the stat audit rules recently karke. So just be prepared with the with respect to amendments as well. And also in some areas, mostly non big four cases, if you are appearing for an interview in the industry, so some of the questions might be related to current affairs also. They might ask you about the recent mergers and acquisition that has happened in the finance industry, or something has which is basically current affairs related to finance world itself. So just learn something about the latest amendments or the latest news that has happened or that has shook whole India in the finance world. So just be prepared about these things as well in the beforehand. And your explanation skills are also going to be tested in some areas. For an instance, I used to get a questions, or I have seen people getting question like pick an index of your choice and explain me if I'm a layman and doesn't know anything about that index. So and there as well, you can pick any index, or sometimes you're gonna get tested with a particular index. Maybe interviewer is going to ask you that one particular index. So there, how you're going to explain it to the interviewer if he's not knowing anything, if he's a layman, is what also matters to you. So there, the explanation skills about your performance or about yourself is also going to be tested over there. So that is one more thing. And also about the strengths and weaknesses. So this is one area where every interviewer will ask. So about the strength again, which I would have said in the introduction part itself. So if you are going to say something about your strength, I always suggest you to go for a strength which is suitable for that role. Role specific strengths are always appreciated, because let's say again, if you're appearing for a starter role, say your strength in such a way that I've done something in my articleship experience, that I've led a team of 12 or 5 members in a particular kind of a start audit, which is basically into this kind of an industry. Karke, you can always say a role specific answer, which will stand out your answer over there in with respect to strength. And with respect to weakness, you can I suggest you to say do not say no, I don't have any weakness. Karke. If you're saying some weakness in you, you should always say how you're going to overcome it as well. That shows your positive approach regarding that weakness. Do not say that this is my weakness and shut the answer. You always say this is my weakness and I'm going to overcome in such a way, or I'm working on it. Karke, you can always say that kind of an answer. Um, I think these are the areas that I thought of saying it to all of you. And regarding the job search, all of you might have created Naukri accounts and been applying for a lot of roles over there. So one thing I always used to do, and I always wanted my attendees to do, is that be very active in Naukri app. Open it at least 3 times a day, and keep applying, or keep looking into a lot of roles over there. And also delete your resume and upload your latest resume over there, and make sure that your profile is 100% for sure. That is one thing that works well with the algorithm of Naukri. And also keep on updating your profile as well, and just make sure that it is 100%. And also apply for n number of roles. I got interviewed for almost 16 to 17 companies. So you cannot even imagine the number of companies or the number of roles that I should have applied for. Throughout the span of 4 months, I have continuously applying for a lot of roles, just to make sure that my heart goes through one particular job and that company as well. I mean, the 4 months span, you might be in such a situation in middle of these 4 months, that what if I'm not going to get selected in any of the roles? Some of the roles I would have got selected, and rejected them for one of the other reasons. You can always, I mean, that situation will always come, but as you go down the line, you might fall in that fear that what if I'm not going to get selected at the end of the day. So that fear will always be there. So that is why I always suggest my people to, if you're going to if get selected in one particular role, you start, I mean, you accept that role and start doing job over there before 1 year itself, or before you get any other job. You can always say or quit over there, and you can always join the new job or the desired job that you got get selected. And also up to 1 year you have that wavelength or the bandwidth to shift to new other company. No, do not hesitate about it at all, because it's always the kickstart that is that helps you in the career growth. So do not waste your time much in the job hunt or looking for a better job, better or a better role. Just get into a role if you get selected first, and then you look up for the other opportunities. This is very important in the present scenario, because the job world out there is very critical, and a lot of CAs from the past attempts are also still unemployed because they waited for longer time to get into a better job karke, but ended up getting jobless. So just be cautious over there, is one thing. And also in LinkedIn, be shameless in asking for the references. Do not hesitate for asking references at all. LinkedIn is a platform itself is for getting references or getting job using the connections and all. Do not hesitate or do not feel shamed at all in asking for references and all. And also we have Balu for that. He has a lot of connects with a lot of people, so he keeps on posting about job requirements in these groups, and also you can always apply through them as well. And do not go for career websites at all. You might have heard that you can apply through the career websites as well. Do not do that at any cost, because career websites are almost 3 to 4 months outdated. They do not update that in the real time basis at all. If you're applying for a job that is posted recently, also that would have got filled much earlier, and their particular job is still open in the careers website, so that is very outdated, and it doesn't get real timely updated. In 90 to 95% of the cases, it doesn't happen at all. So do not run behind careers website. And I think these are the pretty much areas that I wanted to discuss. If you still have any questions, you can post them in chat here, so I'll
So,
me and Balu will be able to answer these questions.
Kishore,
Yeah.
I want to ask few questions. Like, why should we hire you for this? What type of answer you would like to give? Some HRs will ask this question.
Yeah, definitely. So why should we have you?
And this will be linked with tell me about yourself and why should we hire you. So
I
both
already
questions you can.
said this in the beforehand.
Uh,
It's so when you're gonna face this particular kind of question, so it's always a role specific again. So if you're going to attend for an FP&A role, say that you have done something or you have learned something in the beforehand that you are very much suitable for this kind of role. So see it how you're going to help that particular manager or that particular company with your skills, and make them convinced that you're going to be an addition to them, apart from all other people that you're interviewing for, because I have this particular skill, or I've done some research, or I've learned something about that particular role in the beforehand itself. So that is going to add charm about your performance, and you're gonna get that impression that this is the right person that I'm going to look for. So that is the way that you're gonna answer that question. I think this meeting is gonna end now. Rejoin with the same link. If that link doesn't work, look for the link from Balu.
Balu, should we rejoin or should we continue?
yeah, you can start though. I think 20 will have come.
Yeah. So that is what. But the question that you have
Yeah.
asked, that is how you're going to answer. So it's
Yeah.
all a specific
So
answer.
how do you handle feedback or constructive criticism from your managers? If they ask this question, how do you answer?
I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. How do you handle feedback from your managers, like constructive criticism?
Acha.
When you hire a that is give some feedback, like how do you handle and improve it?
Constructive criticism is always a good thing to receive, right? So it all if something is getting criticized for a right reason, that helps me to grow, or that helps me to take in a positive way to reconstruct myself in such a way that I gonna get shined in that particular role. So I will take that as a positive way and relearn about myself or where are the areas that I'm lacking and all. So you should always take that in a positive way.
Okay. So friends, like now, can you some any of you can ask any questions that you're having?
If you have any
You can
questions,
also
you
put in
can
your
post it
chat.
in chat, people.
Next part we'll take about resume. So for now, if you have any questions that can be asked, you can put in chat.
Yeah, actually, can I speak? I mean, can I ask any
Yeah,
doubt?
ask
I
it.
mean, my
No,
keyboard
always.
has an issue.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay.
yeah, actually, Kishore, my doubt is that the point which you spoke like regarding the job means don't wait for the best one, go for what you get. Like you spoke about that one. So I have some doubts regarding that. Means if it is how to choose. I mean, how to should we wait for the next one or how to know that this is the one? Like the main issue is most of the companies were asking for an agreement like 1 year agreement or 2 years agreement. So if at all we join that and if we break that agreement, is it anyway affecting our future? Like if I again rejoin, if I want to rejoin again in future,
Mhm.
so is there like any chance of blacklisting me or any negative
I
feedback?
get
Will
your
I get
point.
any
Yeah, yeah, I totally get your point. So why I said you to join in the beforehand itself, whenever you get your first get selected in the first job, because of the worst or not worst, because of tightened scenario of job market now. So so that is the reason I want you to join in the first place itself. And the other thing is regarding the lock-in agreement over there. So that I mean, not most of the companies, very few companies do that. Even though if you face that particular kind of a situation, legally they are not going to do anything. That is for sure. And there is no there is no approach of blacklisting employees and your resume or your mail id or whatever the unique number is there, yeah, that is not going to be posted in somewhere a bucket called blacklist, and other companies will see that this person shouldn't be hired karke. There is no approach or there is no such kind of system is followed at all. So that is a myth, and you should not believe it, that is for sure. Did you ask anything else?
Yeah, okay, thank you. No, that's it. Thank you.
Oh, right. Sirisha, you're asking that what to tell when the interviewer asks if you have any questions. So here also, do not say no, I don't have any questions. Karke. You ask about the role. If you are going to get selected in that particular job, ask what I am going to do in a day-to-day basis. Or you can always ask about his own opinion or his own experience in working in that company since last several years, or the association that he has with the company, or anything which is related to job or role, but never ever ask about the pay structure or work life balance or these kind of controversial questions or negative impression or negative vibe questions, but ask anything about the company or the job role that you're going to do over there. I think that serves your purpose, Shirisha. And what should we add experience in introduction if you're applying for a new field? So if that is new field, right? So everyone knows, or the even the interviewer will also knew that CS doesn't have an experience related to investment banking in their article chip at all. So you don't have to include about your experience over there, but you can always include if you're applying for a investment banking role in JPMC, in your skills or in your you can always mention that particular thing in your resume, that you have done some learnings regarding mutual funds, or some learnings regarding fund accounting and all. And you can always mention that these are the areas that have theoretical knowledge, or these are the areas where I have did something or did some research over there. So that adds a special charm in getting selected for the interview at least. selecting in the interviews, getting selected in the interview is a second thing, but getting selected for the interview is the first thing that you should concentrate on, right? So that helps. This is the framing of your resume. So if you're gonna if you're gonna add that point in your, or the para, or that block in your resume, that serves your purpose. They are not expecting you to have any work experience for sure, but at least some kind of research or some kind of learnings in that particular domain does matter a lot. And Archana Reddy is asking, what's your take on shifting jobs frequently, ignoring contract classes? Regarding contract classes, I already said it, but do not shift much frequently. But before 1 year, you can always shift, saying the reason that I was not very much comfortable with that role, karke, but shifting it frequently in the 1 year also does make a lot of negative impression regarding you, that you're not stable in a particular job, karke. And also, if you are working for 1 year in a particular company, I would always suggest you to move to the another company after 1 year for sure. Shifting jobs with with the longer intervals, at least 2 to 3 years, or 1 year, 1 year for the first job, and then at least maintain 2 to 3 years or 3 to 4 years to the maximum extent, and that will give you, multiplication in terms of package. And also meeting new people and new work culture will always gives a fresh vibe, and at least keeps you motivated in working in the job environment for sure. uh, can we crack interview if you're not technically strong? I'll tell you an example where I've got selected in HCL. So that was a very critical interview that I faced, and the interviewer has asked me almost 5 questions over there, which were related to technical. First 3 questions, I was pretty sure that I was saying wrong, but I was saying it confidently that I was. I know that I'm saying wrong, but I was pretty much confident in sounding my answer. And the later 2 questions, I said it correctly only, but still I was pretty sure that my answers were wrong. I'm not gonna get selected. But in the interview mail that I've received, they have said that I got selected, and also they specifically mentioned that uh, I mean, we liked your confidence in saying the answer, so that is why you have got selected, karke. I was very surprised, and felt a bit weird that they have said me that I've said the wrong answers, but still I've got selected. So that's how confidence will always plays a vital role in your appearance or in your presentation. That really makes a lot of difference. So, and also one more thing that I would like to quote is, whenever we say wrong answer, or whenever we stumble upon some kind of answers, we immediately put our confidence low, or we become low, and we are not able to be answer the next 2 or 3 questions for sure. So just make up your mind in such a way that even though you say the wrong answer, you always wait for 2 other questions, where you can always score much marks in the mind of interviewer. So in the exam also it is the same way, right? If you are not able to answer one question, that is very much fine if you're going to answer the other questions in a very confident way, or in a correct way in the exam. So that is how the same technique applies here also. So that serves your question, I guess. Most of my experience is into stat audit. So if I apply for the roles, example R2R and FP&A, what answer should I give to the interviewer? So R2R and FP&A, I said no earlier itself. I said, so these are the areas where interviewer will not expect you to have an experience, but definitely you should have knowledge about that for sure. So if you are appearing for an FP&A role, so at least learn about the FP&A job culture, or job technicalities that you're gonna do, or you talk to a lot of connections in the LinkedIn, apply, ask them about how a day-to-day work happens in an R2R role or FP&A role, karke. At least learn something about it. And also job description always gives you 50% of the knowledge about that role. So just do some research in the beforehand. You can always say that and portray that this is what I learn, and this is what I know, and I'm very much passionate in knowing more about it, and serve the organization, karke. You can always say that. They will not expect you to have that experience. So that is what I wanted to say.
So Nisha is asking, should you get transfer from tax to audit? So what should be the reason for that? And then you asked.
Acha, look to transfer tax to audit. That is the reason. Acha. I mean, if it is for a short-term period, then you can always say that while I was doing taxation part, I used to go through some areas where the part of audit used to take place in my job role. Then I used to get more attentive or more, approached towards audit, and that is why I wanted to shift to audit. If you're shifting to audit after a definite period of 1 year or 2 years, you can always say that I've consumed some portion of tax and I was okay with that, and now I want to experience some new world of audit. So that is why I'm going to shift to audit. Karke, you wanted to change domain just to gain a fresh or new experience is what you can say over there. If you're going to shift in the shorter period, you can always say the earlier answer. So that is what.
Hello, sir. Can I ask a question, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
So what is the current LPA? How much we can quote, sir? Because nowhere they are disclosing the CTC or salary.
As there are limited people here, I would be saying very honest answer. So if you have multiple attempts, and if you are very much in fear that you're not going to get selected if you're waiting for much more longer time, settle for 8 to 10 LPA also. So that is a decent package. But on an average, now the qualified CS are getting 11 to 13 LPA for sure. So last year I heard a lot of people getting 12 LPA, and now after 6 months it should definitely somewhere around between 11 to 13 for sure. Averagely it should be ideal if you're getting 11 to 13 is a good package for a startup.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir,
Okay.
one more question is that whether we choose for Big Four or industry, sir, because hearing so much news
Much
that there
debatable.
will be.
That's very much debatable, Himate. So it's all depends upon your personal choice. Big Four is also fine and industry is also fine. But the only drawback that I find in Big Four is if you're going to work for longer period, you can always shift only between four companies. So which are Big Four, right? So only among us these four companies only you can shift. But if you're going to expose in industry, you have much and much options. If you're going to start investment banking role, so after a while, after 3 4 years also, you can always step into telecom, or if you can always shift into manufacturing industry as well. So this transition of shifting domain to domain in the industry is much easier when it is compared to Big Four. So that is the only drawback, else it's always a personal choice.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Like, how is the career at software companies now? Recently, they are hiring more CS, right?
Yeah. So Infosys and Wipro, all these companies. I mean, these two companies are the pioneers in software industries with respect to hiring CAs. So these roles are almost like accounting executives or financial analyst kind of roles, where you're not much exposed to the world of finance for sure, but there is a kind of different learning over there, a bit of a bit of coding or a bit of learning related to macros or bit of learning related to SAP and all will also takes place over there. That will definitely be a new learning, but 50% of your job life is going to be finance, and other 50% is going to be a new thing that you're going to learn over there. And regarding the job prospects, and it is a good career to start for sure. Finance analyst in the software companies is always a kickstart. That is for sure.
So there will be growth in the career. There will be scope, right?
Yes. Even if you're working in a software industry as a finance analyst, it is always as equal as you're working in any other industry. If you take in manufacturing and working as a software finance analyst over there, it is almost as equal as you're working in the software industry. It is just that you're working on SAP or you're working on some other particular domain here, but there something else will be there, and it's not much into the software part, but it's much into the finance part itself. So that is the only difference. But more or less, all these, with respect to the experience or with respect to the look that you're gonna get in terms of interviewer, is always the same.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Kishore, one more small doubt. Actually, I heard a lot. I heard from my friends that don't opt for if at all you get a GDS like EY GDS, don't go for that. If it is a Indian one, you go. Is there any hidden reason? Actually, I didn't get any perfect answer from my friends. Like, if you had any
I get it.
knowledge on that, could you please?
For let's say for EY there is a GDS and Indian. For PwC it is SDC and Indian. For Deloitte it's USA and Indian. So these are the bifurcation. So if you're getting selected for GDS or SDC or USA or whatever it may be. So most of your roles, or I'll be very honest here again, always almost 80% or 90% of the roles are kind of robotic, and you're gonna get fed up with that kind of role over a period of time. You cannot work for much longer period over there, and also the kind of exposure or the kind of experience that you're gonna get in the Indian is far better than USA. That is basis. Why I would like to say that is, if you're going to work in an USA environment over there, you're gonna learn new thing or new set of rules and IFRS and all those rules again, where you have to apply it somewhere in the software or somewhere in their audit software or audit environment that they built, and you never get to interact with that particular client or the audit associates over there in the real time basis or the in person basis. If you're going to work in Indian firms of Big Four and all, although you're not going to meet them in person, but at least the kind of exposure or much more familiar to what we study, so that comfort level will always be there, and also a bit more career growth is higher if you're working in Indian firms rather than USA. So USA's career growth will always go in such a way that, if you work for a longer period, then you can always have doors open to work in the outside India as well. So that is a benefit over there we have, and in the Indian firms, this is a kind of comfort we have, and in terms of career growth also we have this kind of comfort growth. And also, if you want to shift the industry of Big Four to industry of out of Big Four, working in Indian firms will give you a little advantage, because if you come to the finance analyst in software industries or manufacturing industries, somewhere the index or somewhere this approach of doing the job is always the same. So at least you can get shift from the domain if you're working in Big Four India. So if you're working in Deloitte USA, the other way of approach or other way of going out of the industry is to get out of India and get selected in other companies. So that is the difference over there.
Kishore, continuing to the previous question, like, see, wherever we are seeing the opportunities for global things, SDC, GDS, Deloitte US. Why there are no more opportunities for Indian firms in the Big Fours? Is there any reason, like?
No reason. So for Big Four India, I have always heard that works on references only. They rarely come for the campus interviews because the demand for Deloitte USA or Big Four USI is more than the Indian firms. So it's always the demand supply rule over there, right? So demand for the USI roles is always higher because we get at a cheaper rate to the other countries. So that is why the demand is more for the USI roles rather than the Indian roles. That is the only reason the vacancy is less over there. That's it. But through references, you can always get because of the, because of the reference. I mean, if you're going to directly get in touch with that recruiter, the chances of getting hired is more, right? So that is the only reason that you get that you get into that particular kind of job through references only. Not only through the references, but most of the cases only through references.
Yeah, Kishore, one more doubt. It's regarding if at all we are planning to move to abroad, like any other country.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any I mean, I think so. There are any specific examinations or any courses we have to complete for, or I mean, like, is it the same validity we have, or we have to do any other extra courses, or where we will get the information regarding that?
CPA will always give you an extra charm if you're going to get into abroad. I'm not very much into that particular subject, to be honest, but working in just Big Four and getting abroad opportunities is not very much easy, or not a cakewalk for sure. But it always gives you an additional advantage. But that doesn't make your job easy at all. You should always look for other additional qualification for sure. So CFA or CPA or something else, which I'm not very sure about it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
As you worked in Bharat Theatre, how difficult was it to begin at your work, and how did you handle? So it was very difficult because working in Bharat Theatre as a cost analyst was very much difficult because the industry itself is very much new to me. I was I was obliged to learn the technicalities or the technology or the terminology of telecom industry for sure. That was a very complex world to learn about each and every spectrum, each and every antennas or microwaves, or there is a kind of typical technology over there. If you can get hold of it, then you'll be able to get into the subject of what telecom actually deals with. And then if telecom is actually dealing with something, then the cost incurs in that area, right? So where the major flow of cost is going over there, and then I have to step back again and I have to search for where are the areas that I can reduce cost and all. So it's a step back approach. First, I have to learn about that technology and the terminology over there. I have to get adopted to that industry, and then a step back again regarding how what of the allocation of cost in that particular area, and then I have to reduce over there. How did you handle in the sense? It's always a positive approach that you showcase over there. So you have to be patient for sure if you're getting exposed to a newer world, be it in terms of big four also. If you're getting exposed to a newer world, initially it is always going to be difficult for sure. It is not a cakewalk at all, but you should keep that patience and belief intact in your approach to job. It will take its own time, its own good time basis the ability of yours, but definitely your subordinates or your manager is going to help you. That will not toughen your job at all. So gradually you get used to that particular role. That's it.
Yeah, Kishore, since you are an ex-Italian and again Bharti Airtel is into campus, so would you suggest us if at all we got a shortlist, I mean selected for the Bharti Airtel, should we take it up or should
Yes.
we go for the next one?
No, no,
I
definitely yes,
mean
definitely yes.
your experience.
Is Bharati Airtel into campus this time?
Yeah, I think so. I saw somewhere.
I don't
I
think
mean
so.
in the
Bharati
browser, I
Airtel
think.
only hires rankers. I mean, I got selected some because of some other reason. That is a different
Okay,
thing. But
okay,
in
okay.
campus, it doesn't come for normal people. It comes only to the rankers. So maybe there is a change of scenario this time. If they come, that is such a great opportunity if we got selected in Bharati Airtel, because the work culture that I've seen in Airtel is almost as equal as Google. I used to create a cost reduction project on myself, and even with my laptop I can carry it to the cabin of CEO, and I can directly talk to him that I have made certain cost reduction project and this is my idea. Karke. You can always knock the doors of CEO at any time. So that is how transparent the work culture over there is. And also regarding the pay and regarding your career growth over there is very much promising. So if you got a chance to get selected over there, that's a very golden opportunity that I can say. I have worked on a listed company, but didn't actually had a good experience and left the audit in mid. So if the interviewer asks me questions related to it, how to tackle it? You are nowhere mentioning that you have left in middle, right? So if you are mentioning that in your resume, you can only delete it. If something is giving you negative impression in the resume, you first in the first hand itself you have to delete it, right? You don't mention all those things at all.
Actually, hi.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't mentioned that I have left mid-audit,
Okay.
but I have mentioned the listed company in my CV. So
Mm-hmm.
if the interviewer asks me any questions related to it, so how can I tackle it? Because I don't know much about the industry and all. So even I have just mentioned that I have worked on operating expenses.
Uh-huh.
So is it fine if I know only about the operating expenses?
Absolutely fine. So when interviewer asks you not just regarding this particular question, if they ask you about the experience that is picked from the resume, you can always say, if you do not have that kind of confidence answer over there, you can always say that I was just a team member over there. I was not exposed to the whole set of audit or whole set of work over there in that particular assignment. I was assigned to this particular branch or this particular field of work, and I was doing that particular field of work. So I was not handy with all that total subset of work. I was just handling this kind of work. You can always say it, no issues at all. And also one more important thing to all of you is mostly 60 to 70% of the questions are coming out of the experience that you're gonna mention in the resume. So this happens in every other interview. So what you're mentioning in your resume is always important, because 60% of the questions are asked by that. And the other thing is, if you're going to mention a particular work in your resume and you're not be prepared in the beforehand, that is going to cost you the whole interview for sure. Because do not ever mention about something that you have not done in the resume. If you have mentioned that, just be prepared in the beforehand something else, or some other thing about that particular work in the beforehand itself. At least you should be able to answer that particular question if you're gonna face that question for sure. So if you say that that is mentioned by mistake, or if you get stumbled over that particular kind of question, so that's gonna cost you the whole interview for sure. Whether lying about attempts in the campus placement affects the interview, this is a very confidential question, but I would say no. It doesn't cost you or doesn't affect you at all. But do not swallow more number of attempts. If you consumed 4 5 attempts, do not say that only 1 2 attempts. At least say 1 or 2 attempts lesser. That is not going to affect you, because they anyhow are not going to check through background verification at all. So ICI doesn't give any background confirmation to any of the companies. This is a secret. As I cleared in the first attempt, I will be saving 1.5 month articleship to be served from the date of interview. So how to inform the, that is a mandatory thing that you should serve, right? There is no other way to skip it at all. So you can always, you should say that this is a mandatory thing that I should do, and then only I can be able to join. And also, if you're going to get selected in the campus, the offer letter is not going to give you a nearby joining date at all. At least on an average, amongst the cases that I've seen, average 2 months or 1.5 month gap will always be there. But there are certain cases where only 1 week gap was also there. But averagely, I'm saying at least 1.5 month to 2 months gap will always be there. So no worries in that point.
Kishore, I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, in campus placements, we need to give the consent by end of the day, right? After the interview. So how to decide? Like today, we got interviewed for one company, and we have left over 3 interviews, right? So how to decide if whether I to choose this or not?
When I used to apply, when I used to attend campus interview, so then there, at that point of time, the scenario was like, even though uh, you do not give confirmation past 24 hours also, that is not going to cancel. They will still wait for your confirmation. Over the mail, they will mail you that we are waiting for your confirmation karke. ICI site might dissolve or discard the confirmation button, but they will mail you that we are waiting for confirmation karke. But you cannot risk in that area. So what you can always do is confirm it over there, but you are still allowed to attend for 3 other interviews on the next day for sure. In the next 3 days interview, in the next day 3 interviews, if you're going to get selected in one other interview, and if you're more liking to that job, you can always say no to this first company, and ICI is not going to penalize you. It is always there in rules, but I have never seen a case where ICI penalized a particular candidate for rejecting an offer. That doesn't happen at all, and you're not going to get blacklisted for sure. Accept it if you're frightened that you might not get selected in the next 3 interviews karke, accept the first one, and then you wait for the other interviews and get selected over there also, and cancel the first one if you're not liking it.
Kishore ji, I have one question.
Yeah, sorry.
Recently I applied for R2R role.
Mm-hmm.
Then HR said consultancy called today and asked me to remove the experience in my resume because they are hiring freshers. If my resume is selected for interview, and if then it's showing interviewer that I had a gap of 3 years between articles and final completion. If they ask me the same thing, why the gap and what I have to answer then?
This is a tricky question. They themselves are asking you to remove the experience, and what if interviewer ask you? I mean that gap should either get filled with the attempts or get filled with some other experience, right? you're locked in that situation, right? Even I am not able to answer that particular kind of scenario. No one will able to answer. Maybe you can say, you can always say that for 1.5 year I've done some kind of consultancy works, rendering your services in terms of tax returns or GST or whatever that kind of tax
Ah,
consultancy works, and then
same thing,
uh,
same thing was written in that experience, but they are asked me to remove.
then anyone must be clueless in that situation, right? So you either fill with that you either fill that gap with the experience, or else you always say that you have prepared for the final attempt or something of that sort. If something is getting
Okay,
bad, you should fill with some other reason, right? So you choose what
okay.
Or Kishore, can we directly ask that consultant who has approached him to the same question? Can we directly ask the consultant? I mean,
course.
actually for him, the consultant has asked to remove the experience. Na? So can we directly consult the that HR? So what if the interviewer asks, can we explain our situation to that HR?
Yeah, of course you can explain. No, these consultants, middle people are always like, these are just a bridge between you and the company.
Yeah,
These people
yeah,
are
yeah.
not going to do anything harm to you. You can always speak
So we
whatever.
can be open with them and we can ask them. What if the interviewer asks,
For sure.
what? Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. And one more thing, Kishore, you have already quoted the market price for corporates, right? So what is the market price for firms at present in Hyderabad and Bangalore at
As of
least?
now, it is 50 to 60,000 rupees on an average per month.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
I got a call from EY Corporate Tax for interview 10 days back, and there is no call. You have to get used to these kind of scenarios, Dinesh. You keep getting a lot of calls from a lot of interviewers and companies and consultants as well. That you're gonna get a mail from them, but you will never get that mail at all. So you should get used to these kind of scenarios. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying for a lot of interviews. Keep applying for a lot of jobs. You never know where the opportunity is going to come and going to knock your doors, and that is how I got selected into Bharati Airtel. I waited for 13 company. I've got selected for 13 companies, and I've said no to every other company because they have offered me work from home job, and some companies where I didn't like the role much. Or that was a COVID scenario. I wanted a work from office kind of a job, so I waited much longer for the role which can please me. So I waited. That there was much luxury to me to wait for 4 months because that was a COVID scenario. Now in your case, uh, you step into that job, whatever knocks your door in the first instance, and also these rejections and these non-acceptances will always be your daily experience for sure for this next 1 2 months or 3 months going to be. Don't get dejected with that kind of experience or scenarios. You always thump up yourself and keep applying for a lot of jobs, because you really never know where the opportunity is going to hit you. How to answer about the findings in stat audits, and how did you report that along with the impact it created on organization? So you can frame an example, real life example that you have done in your articleship always. And if you do not have such, ask your friends or ask, research something about it. You can always find this. This is a very customized answer, Vedansh. So maybe you can always say that uh, this is a kind of complex situation that I've faced in the articleship, and I've reported it to my subordinates, and they have applauded me, or they have got impressed with this kind of an observation, and they've mentioned that in audit report. Karke. You can always frame a real life example which sounds so casual to them. We have only 5 minutes, candidates. So if you have any questions, you ask me. I think this
So
chart.
I think we have a few questions. Better answer for why should we hire you? I think we missed that before.
Why should we have you? I think I've already said it, right? It should always
Someone
be
is asking better answer to why shouldn't we hire you?
that question will not
And
be answered
again,
at all. Why
yeah,
shouldn't we hire you? Who
what
asked
to answer?
hire you at
Yeah,
all? No one asked that
uh,
question at all.
what to answer when people ask you if you have other job offers in hand?
You can always be honest over there, because if you get a chance to bargain the salary, you can always say that I have so and so offer in my hands, and I have got 11 LPA offer in my hand. If you can give me 11.5, I'll join in your company. You can be shameless over there. No company is going to get no company is going to ask you, no company is going to get hesitated in asking the same question to you. So in return, you should not be hesitated to say that. If you really have an offer, you always say that, but they're going to ask you the offer letter for sure if you're going to bargain over there. And in the Airtel, when I got selected, I have all these offer letters, and some I've got cancelled and some are open. So I mailed them all the offer letters that are open in my mailbox, and amongst all them, the highest was some figure, and they have offered me a lakh rupees more than that, and then I've accepted their.
Now, possible. Just मेरा कपड़ा.
Yeah. Does English matter in interview? Yes, it does matter, but confidence will always comes in first place rather than your language. Communication will always fall into the second place, but the confidence is always the first thing. As we don't have experience, I think this we have already answered. Our resumes will be shortlisted to that roles. How that resume will be shortlisted that in that roles is, again, I have to say the similar answer. If you can put that para, or if you can put that block in your resume that you have done some research or learnings over that particular role of FP&A or any other role, then your resume will always get that charm of getting selected for the interview, right? So that is one game you should play over there. By the way, offers are open for months or weeks. I'm totally aware of this. Yes, offers can be open for not just weeks, for years also. I used to get messages from ICICI that your offer is still open. If you want to accept, you can always come to us. Karke. I used to get after a year also. That is a very rare scenario, I agree, but it will be open for weeks or months together also. In the current scenario, that will be for weeks only, but earlier it used to be for months also, where that was a COVID scenario. Yeah. I think that's all, guys. If you
The
have
meeting is going.
meeting is going to end in 1 minute 15 seconds. So if you have any interesting questions, then ask.
Fine.
How is career at banks? It sucks. I don't suggest you to go for banks at all. It's my personal opinion. But if you get internal audit role in banks, try test for it, but not for relationship manager or solution managers or all this kind of
Yeah.
roles. Very
Kishore, I think how much time is left?
less than a minute.
Okay. So, guys, I think this is the session. So, we'll be meeting here again with another speaker tomorrow, same time. And about Kishore, I would like to mention another thing. He's going to take mock interviews, like one-on-one mock interviews. Like he has experience of three seasons, like from November 2022. If I'm not wrong, from when we started?
November 22. Yeah,
From,
it's 3 seasons.
yeah. So through him, many people got placed. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me. I will give his number. You can reach out to him, and he will guide you in mock interviews.
Thank you. Nani is going to send you a brochure where you can register for the mock interviews.
Yeah, sure.
To register for it, it will be very, very useful, and you got to face the real life, real kind of a scenario of interview. You can get used to.
So if you can tell him role.
You can get used